So I've driven basically every iteration there is of the Challenger over the past 7 years, and they haven't changed a whole lot in those 7 years, at least not major design-wise. Obviously, they've had incremental changes to the powertrain setup, which we'll talk a lot about here, a little bit of changes to the design, which we'll talk about here, but it's not too much different than the other Challengers that I've reviewed over and over again. So it's a little bit difficult to figure out exactly what I want to talk about during these reviews, but we're going to hit on all the major points here. And I've already stated many times that I think that the Scat Pack is the best bang for your buck when it comes to the Challenger and Charger. If I was buying a Challenger or Charger, the Scat Pack is probably where I would be sitting, where I would like to buy. And we can get into all of that also during the review, but we're gonna spend some time looking on the outside. We're gonna look under the hood. We're gonna look at the interior. We're gonna take it for a drive, and that'll wrap the video up. So let's just get into it. All right, so really quickly, the first thing I'll touch on is the pricing here. The SXT has a base price of just under $30,000, but that's with the V6. This one, the Scat Pack, goes anywhere from about $40,000 to what this one is, that's almost $60,000. But if you're looking at the SRT Hellcat or the Hellcat Red Eye, the Red Eye that we reviewed not too long ago was actually almost $90,000, so that's a lot of money for a Challenger. Obviously, it gives you a lot of performance, but for the most people, most consumers, even muscle car enthusiasts, the Scat Pack is a great package. All right, and one of the things I've neglected to mention so far, but I'm sure it'll be in the title of the video or whatever. This is the 2019, not the 2020. That's okay, because in 2019 is when they did the refresh, and that's when a lot of the changes happened. What's different between this one and the 2020 isn't really that much, but in 2019, the Scat Pack Wide Body was added. You now get an SRT tuned chassis featuring stiffer front springs, return shock absorbers, and larger sway bars in both front and rear. You also get SRT tuned high performance adaptive dampening suspension. You get a front fascia with an integrated splitter, which optimizes airflow to the cooling modules without compromising the vehicle's balance. And finally, you get a rear spoiler from the Hellcat, which helps to deliver more downforce and better balance overall. Exterior badging on the RT Scat Pack now includes new Scat Pack B badges that face forward on both fenders. Also on the front grille, you have the Challenger script and the RT badge flanking both sides. Now the Scat Pack Wide Body features the same fender flares from the SRT Hellcat Wide Body, which adds 3.5 inches to overall width, which allows the new RT Scat Pack Wide Body to ride on sticky 305 35 ZR20 Pirelli tires mounted to 20-inch by 11-inch forged Devil Rim aluminum wheels. And in this vehicle, we do have the optional extra red brake calipers. That's a $495 option. This is a Brembo 4-piston brake system with 4-piston Brembo calipers and 14.2-inch front and 13.8-inch rear ventilated slotted rotors. Now, we already hit a little bit on that rear spoiler, but this one on this car is actually the SRT Performance spoiler, which is a $695 option. And the next thing to touch on here is this exterior color. The exterior color here is called F8 Green, and I quite like it. If you saw my quick look video on this vehicle on our second channel, go check it out if you haven't already. I did mention that I really like this color on this car. If it was a different car, I might not like it as much. I think this color looks good on stuff like Jeeps, maybe a small truck like the Tacoma and a muscle car like this. And having those black accents on it really makes it stand out. I really like the combination. I definitely approve this color. All right, and with that, let's pop the hood, check out the engine, talk about the different engine options you get for the 2019-2020 Challengers. All right, so the base engine on a Challenger is that 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 engine, the tried, the true, the long lasting forever engine. That thing pushes 305 horsepower, 268 foot-pounds of torque. Stepping up, you have a 5.7 liter HEMI V8 engine. That thing will push 375 horsepower, 410 foot-pounds of torque. Then you have this one in the Scat Pack. This is the 392 6.4 liter HEMI V8 engine. And this pushes 485 horsepower, 475 foot-pounds of torque. 0 to 60 in the 4-second range, quarter mile in the 12-second range, and it's matched up to the 8-speed Torque Flight automatic transmission. And you can get the Scat Pack with a manual transmission. I don't believe you can get the Hellcats with the manual transmission anymore. I could be wrong on that. Probably should have looked it up, but for all of us noobs out here, why don't you guys, the experts in the YouTube comments, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you can still get the Hellcat with a manual transmission or not. But speaking of the Hellcat, that thing obviously is rocking that supercharged 6.2 liter HEMI V8. That pushes 717 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds of torque. It's a monster. I've driven it, I've reviewed it. You should go check out those videos. And I've also driven the Red Eye, which also has that supercharged 6.2 liter HEMI V8, but that has 797 horsepower and 707 foot-pounds of torque. That thing is insane. All right, with that, let's jump inside, check out the interior of this car. Then we'll start it up, take it for a drive, and hear that amazing exhaust and feel that power. Let's get into it. All right, so inside the Scat Pack, we get a performance interior. We have nice Napa leather bucket seats with Alcantara, and you get that Scat Pack B logo embroidered into the seat backs. New here inside is also the dark dub plate finish on the instrument panel and the console, and new liquid titanium accents on the steering wheel, shifter, and cluster bezel. Our review car has the optional sunroof, and this is a $1,295 option. You also have steering wheel mounted shift controls and a leather wrapped shift knob. We also have the Harman Kardon audio group with subwoofer. This gives us the HK Green Edge amplifier and 18 speakers with the sub. We do have the push button start. And of course, this one comes with the original key. You don't get the red key. That's an SRT Hellcat thing. The Scat Pack just has the black key, if that was something you're interested in. Next, we have the 8.4-inch Uconnect display, 4C with navigation. And this is a great system, and we'll touch on a little bit other stuff in this in just a second. But this car also has a blind spot monitoring system with cross path detection. You also get a backup camera, not a 360 camera, but you don't really need that in this vehicle. So many of the high performance features that were offered in the Scat Pack are now included standard, including the launch control, which is just a button right down here, the launch assist, the line lock, and SRT drive modes and SRT performance pages. So the drive modes are accessed through a button down here or through the touchscreen up here. And you can see you have track, you have sport, you have a custom mode, and you have an auto mode, which basically puts you into eco. For the most part, we're going to be driving this thing in sport, which means our transmission is in sport. The paddle shifters here are on. Traction control is in sport, suspension in sport, and street in sport. Obviously, track is going to put most of that stuff into track. Custom, you can customize how you want it, so your transmission can be a little bit easier on street. your traction can be on street. You can have your suspension a little bit easier if you want, but have that power still there. And of course, auto, like I said, is the more eco setting. And you do have your performance pages, which you get with the SRT. So this is a great thing to have in the Scat Pack, something you wouldn't get from just an RT. And this is going to give you a lot of different things. You have the dyno here to see your power and torque. You have some engine information, your G-force calculator, which is really fun to look at, some more gauges to look at, timers. So if you're ready to set your 0 to 60 time, quarter mile time, whatever, you can do that here. And just a home screen that shows horsepower, G-force, oil pressure, and your current gear. All right, and without further ado, I'm gonna turn it off, set up the camera so you can hear this thing turn back on, get a starting noise. We're gonna take it for a drive, see how it is, let you hear that exhaust, let you feel the power, and then we'll begin to wrap this video up. So straight line performance is good here. Turning is pretty good here. Acceleration, amazing. Braking power, amazing. The Scat Pack with the wide body is definitely the best of both worlds, with its best on-road mannerisms and best track mannerisms that this car has ever had. And it just sounds glorious. It is an insanely quick car. And I've driven the Red Eye, and it is mind-blowingly quick, but this one is still, I mean, it's still great, and it still sounds great. To me, you really got to be either just wanting to show off or just have enough money where it just doesn't matter if you're buying that Hellcat or Hellcat Red Eye. I mean, and it's not an uncomfortable car. You do get more track-focused suspension in here. It is a little bit rougher of a ride, but it's such a big car. It manages the road very well. It's definitely not an uncomfortable car to drive. The seats are comfortable. The seating position is comfortable. The interior has a lot of room. You get nice tech in here for day-to-day driving. If you wanted to take this on a long road trip as a GT car, I think this is one of the best GT cars that you can have right now, because it is quick, it is comfortable. Fuel economy probably isn't the best, but you're going to sacrifice something. And I did say fuel economy is not going to be the greatest, but during my week, I'm averaging 15.8 miles to the gallon, which for such a big engine, big car, and as much fun as we've been having with it, that's not bad. It's definitely a car you can get yourself in trouble with. Just a little bit of throttle definitely at least lets you hit that speed limit super quick. And that exhaust note will definitely help you draw attention of anyone within a mile radius. And of course, one of the great things here is that even with all this power and everything, you put it in auto, you still got some louder exhaust notes, but everything calms down and it's a good day-to-day driver. Just back and forth to the store, no problem. Heading into work, driving on the highway, you don't have to deal with like loud drones because you can set it into a more eco-friendly day-to-day driving mode. Saw a dead armadillo yesterday and now a dead snake on the road today. Interesting. As you can no doubtably tell, it is a hot one today. So let's wrap this video up. All right, guys, well, that's just about going to do it for this video. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this far into the video. Again, I really like the Scat Pack. It's one of my favorites. I really like this color. Love the way this thing drives. Love the power out of it. Definitely would recommend it if you're looking at a muscle car today. But I'm also interested to hear what you guys think about the Challenger, about the RT Scat Pack versus the Hellcat or Hellcat Red Eye. Please leave those down in the comments below. With that, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed, and thanks for watching, guys. All right, guys, one last thing I want to mention in this video here at the very end. I appreciate you guys if you're this far into the video, but I got to plug something. Definitely go check out txgarage.com. There's a lot of great contributors there, written reviews, news coverage, and event coverage throughout Texas. So if you're just on this YouTube channel and you want to check out more from the Texas Garage family, definitely go check out that txgarage.com. We're also a new member with Locals. So txgarage.locals.com is our Locals address. And Locals is sort of like a Patreon. It's where you can set up communities. So TX Garage is a community there. And you can sign up for free and follow through most of our stuff. And then there's going to be some premium content that you could pay for if you're interested in. But I would definitely appreciate if you go check out txgarage.locals.com and try to help support us over there. With that, I promise that's the end of the video.